Avram Chaim Ben Yehudis.
Amen.
I'm not going to be here for the next 2 weeks.
Oh, good.
So we're gonna try to hit Channukah and
Jeff, why do you sit
Yosef.
over there like you're not part of us?
Exactly.
You want to be on the camera? Is that what it is? You want to
No.
be in the
I'll sit right here.
picture?
Okay.
Okay. So we're gonna talk about. I just want to start by asking Akasha.
Yes, Bonnie's not here today.
That's how I'm already out here. It's okay.
I mean, you have to suffer through the shear. You might as well sit in the comfy
Be
chair.
comfortable, right?
So just to start with Akasha.
I would have put you on 1.5 like immediately.
Okay, yeah. So you should put at least on 1.5. So Akasha, we see that in this week's parasha Vayishlach, we see that Yaakov-Yosef, he does a lot of Hishtadlus. He does a lot of Hishtadlus to because of the outcome of he's not sure what this outcome is going to be with his meeting with Esav. And so he does 3 things. He does Doron, he has a gift prepared, Melchama, and Tefillah. So he has all this extensive Hishtadlus that he does. We all know what Hishtadlus is. Extensive. How do you translate Hishtadlus?
Preparation.
Efforts, right? Physical efforts, in the realm of the physical,
Yes.
to prepare for a particular outcome, and we see that Yaakov is, Chazal discussed this without any kind of negative judgment whatsoever. He was responsible for, and this was an element of his responsibility, of taking responsibility and doing these efforts. However, in the next week's parsha, we see Yosef Atzadik. He's in jail for 18 years, 20 years, whatever, and he asks the steward, the wine steward, to put in a good word for him by Paro, and he's punished for 2 years. He has to stay in jail for another 2 years because he made Hishtadlus. He made efforts to get himself freed. So the question is, what is the difference? Why is Yaakov Avinu, kind of lauded, or it's understandable the Hishtadlus he did with Esav, and yet when Yosef Atzadik is trying to do what he's doing, he gets zapped. He gets 2 more years of prison because of the efforts that he tried to make to secure his release. Everyone hears the question?
Yeah, it's a good question. I've always wondered about that.
Oh, good. You're on the ball, David. In a certain sense, we talk about Bitachon, and what is it about Bitachon? Bitachon is basically we're realizing that there's no other power but Hashem, and we trust in that. And in a certain sense, Bitachon, if we really had Bitachon, we should not do any Hishtadlus. Like, we shouldn't make any efforts if we know that Hashem is gonna, why pray if Hashem knows what I need? Like, Hashem knows I need money, so I'm just going to, say Tehillim all day, and the money will come in. The health will come in. I don't have to go to doctors, I don't have to go to work, I don't have to, talk to my wife, whatever. I don't, why do I have to do Hishtadlus? Just, I trust Hashem that everything is going to be good. So in a certain sense, there's Bitachon. One way to look at it, Bitachon would in a certain sense negate having to do any Hishtadlus. Yeah. And so what is the relationship between Bitachon and Hishtadlus? Because there is an idea. Okay. And so I'm going to discuss the ideas that I learned in the Chalban. We've mentioned the Chalban before, and he talks about it, that there's we always say l'shem yichud kutshabrichu, we want to be miyached, we want to unify Hakadosh Baruch Hu and the Shechina, Okay, there's a unification that we're trying to make between HaKadosh Baruch Hu and the Shechina. And this is really a unification between masculine and feminine. Okay, Hashem has a masculine element. Hashem has a masculine element, and Hashem also has a feminine element, the indwelling, the Shechina. And so what are these two elements? Okay, so Hashem, the masculine element, I think we're pretty comfortable with understanding. That's just Hashem, what he does, Hashem, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Hashem, he's the, he is doing all the actions, he does everything. But what is the Shechina? The Shechina, we talked about a few weeks ago, the Shechina is really Klal Yisrael, Am Yisrael, the Jewish people. The Jewish people, their soul root, the kind of the root of the Shechina is the Jewish people, or the root of the Jewish people is the Shechina. All of our souls are kind of, we talked about it being like an orchard. The Shechina is like an orchard. It's an apple field. Let's say an apple orchard. Every individual Jew is a tree, but the collective Jewish people is the Shechina. And what Hashem ultimately wants is he wants a unification between himself and the Jewish people, between his masculine element and the feminine element, which is us, which is the Jewish people. And we've been discussing a lot lately about this quality of our receptiveness to Hashem, that we want to be receptive. That we're not just, we want to, we're talking about always doing Torah and doing mitzvahs and having to earn our keep and do what we need to do and always be busy and always learning and always doing more mitzvahs and everything like that. But there's a whole other element, there's a whole other side of Avodas Hashem, which is receiving our life from the Eibishter, from experiencing and receiving, whether it's physical pleasure, the food that we eat, the clothes that we wear, the sleep that we have, whatever, the nice house we live in, the family we enjoy, anything that we enjoy, the breeze, all of these things, Hashem wants us to enjoy our life. He's giving us our life, and we need to be receptive to understanding that, part of Bitachon is, nothing else is giving me my money, nothing else is giving me this food, nothing else is giving me, right? Hashem is giving me this coffee right now, nothing else. Yum. To be receptive, to be receptive as opposed to, oh gosh, I need to down this coffee so that I can have energy, so that I can go to shul, so that I can do this. So I'm not receiving anything. I'm just like, I need to eat because I need to get. I ate plenty.
Where does free will come in? It was your free will to take that sip of that coffee.
Indeed. I mean, free will is a very very slippery issue. Free will. It's one of those things that it's not like you learned in Hebrew school. Free will. Okay, free will is where there is absolutely no advantage one way or the other which to choose.
It was your free will to make that coffee.
Well, I had it. It
was your free will to drink it.
Well, I like the taste. I didn't have my coffee. I usually have a coffee, and I did not have it at home. Because I was getting everybody's kimchi ready.
You used that as an example a second ago, so that's why I'm using that.
All right. But I wasn't using an example of free will. I was using an example of just enjoying. Hashem. I mean, if I could spill the coffee right now, I could, the coffee could be bad, the milk could be off. I mean, there's a lot of things that even if I decide to make this coffee, I'm not going to be able to enjoy it. Something could fall into the coffee. A lot of things could happen that could keep me from being able to enjoy this coffee. Hold on one second.
Is it good?
Yeah.
Good.
I mean, it's Nescafe. But yeah, it's good.
All right.
I'm enjoying it. Thank you, Hashem. The free will is an animal can also make a cup of coffee. If they want, they're also gonna want. I mean, it wasn't necessarily a free will is a very very limited thing. Okay, it's not which ice cream flavor you want. It's not which shirt you're gonna put on in the morning. It really is. It's not those things. The free will is an extremely limited area, an arena that we really do free will, and it could be that our free will. We hardly ever maybe use our free will potentially. I don't want to. Let's leave free will.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
But yeah, let's say it was my free will to make the coffee, but it's also I also want to enjoy the coffee, and so I want to be receptive to what Hashem is doing for me, and so that's a more feminine posture, okay. In relationship to the Ribono Shel Olam, it's a more feminine posture of I'm receiving from Hashem. Hashem has provided me this coffee, and I'm enjoying it, and that enjoyment of my receiving of having that. Okay, the alternative is how I do most things, which is okay. I need to get to or I need to so let me get this and and I'm going to eat this and get this, so I have this, and I'm already like. I don't even have. I'm just kind of taking. I'm taking. I'm not really receiving. I'm not receiving my life. I'm just taking it. So it's a conscious effort. It requires a conscious effort to be kind of in an element of receiving. And we see that Esav was this receiver. He was an ultimate receiver. He wanted to just enjoy and have pleasure, and he misused it, and it was awful. He became a sinner, and he wasn't a model student. But what Yitzchak did love about him, what he saw in him, was this ability to receive, this ability to take pleasure in. Not having to feel like, I can't have too much pleasure because I don't know, I didn't do enough, or did I didn't earn it, and he could enjoy, he could receive the pleasure, have lavish meals, etc., etc. Okay, and that's something that we need to take conscious effort to do, and that's part of this masculine feminine energy that us as the Shechina. Us as the Jewish people, part of that unity with Hashem is not just us doing mitzvahs, Hashem loves us doing mitzvahs, but us receiving life from Him. Receiving life. And acknowledging that the life and the big pleasures, the beautiful things that we experience, however minuscule, are coming totally from Hashem. No other force is delivering this breeze, is delivering this coffee to me. And to receive it, to say thank you, to appreciate that it's coming from their Ribono Shel Olam, to get a paycheck and to say thank you Hashem, right? Thank you Hashem. David paid for the kimchi. Thank you. Just put some money in my pocket. What? David did that. Hashem did that. Hashem gave me that money. Thank you for being the shliach.
Have you answered the question that you started with?
No,
But you're going to.
I plan on it.
Okay.
And so now I'm confused. Now you lost me, David. You
Why don't you just go ahead and jump to the end and answer that question?
just jump to the end of that question. It's actually a very easy answer. It's a very, very, very easy answer. It's a very simple answer.
Those are my kind of answers.
Yeah, it's very, very simple. So it needs a big lead up.
Okay. Go ahead.
So let's talk about Hishtadlus and Bitachon, right? That's what we were talking about. Bitachon and Hishtadlus. That we have to trust Hashem's doing everything, but yet I have to go make the coffee. I have to do the efforts to make the coffee. And this is how Hashem wants it. Hashem wants it that there is this unity between the masculine and the feminine. Where do we see the where it's just masculine and there's no feminine? We see that by Yetzias Mitzrayim. By Yetzias Mitzrayim, when Hashem took us out of Egypt, the Jewish people were not in a situation, were not capable of receiving, of being a vessel for Hashem. We had nothing to do. We had maybe 2 mitzvahs that we did, and like that was all we could do. But it was Hashem sweeping in and taking us out. And what did he do? He did miracle that had no clothing in nature. It had no clothing in nature. They were naked miracles. They were basically bare miracles that had to break nature. There was no fitting clothing and garment in nature for these miracles, so they broke it. It just broke nature. It came in and broke nature. We talked a lot about this idea, right? Maybe too much? No, because we still don't remember.
There was a man that really took offense at you saying that Hashem broke nature. He doesn't come anymore when you're teaching. He was so upset. I mean, it's just amazing, and I just tried to explain to him what your concept was, because it's obvious.
It's not. I didn't make that up.
No,
I mean, I'm sorry. I didn't make that up. I mean,
he was so upset.
I mean, the Rebbe says it in the Maimer. I don't think. Thank goodness, I don't really remember that. But vaguely, very vaguely, I don't remember who it was. But okay, so he doesn't come on. Okay. So the reason it was the problem. What's the problem with Hashem doing bold-faced miracles, like miracles that go against, I don't know if they break nature, but they go against the laws of nature. Because
of our character. We don't want to get something for nothing. We want to earn it. We are that kind of people, the Jewish people. And if you just give us something, it's not going to be meaningful. In fact, it's even make us feel badly. So
Yetzias Mitzrayim makes us feel badly. We remember on Pesach how badly we feel.
You said, what is it that Hashem does not do these break nature kind of miracles?
Why is that not the ideal way? Is that the ideal that Hashem should do miracles that break nature, or is the ideal is that Hashem should do miracles that are clothed in nature, that follow the laws of nature?
Of course, the answer is obvious, that they should clothe them.
Why?
So we would have free will.
Okay. So you're saying so we have free will? It would be too.
Yeah, we'd be sitting around like stones on a pond or something. There would be nothing for us to do.
There'd be nothing for us to do. Like the Bitachon would be so overwhelming because we saw these miracles. We would just like everything's Hashem. Obviously, He makes it so obvious.
Yes.
So that's the problem.
Yes.
That's the problem. Okay.
Yes.
Another idea. Any other ideas why the problem of why it's ideal? Because when miracles break nature, you look as if there's miracles and there's nature. There's Hashem who can come and force nature to do what it wants, but that nature is kind of a Amanda Amar. Nature is someone who has an opinion in and of itself, and they're a figure in this dance, and Hashem's just able to beat it up and able to kind of just take over and say, nature, you want to say water has to do that? I'm going to tell you what. So really, nature is something. Nature has a koyach in and of itself. Just Hashem's koyach is bigger. So the reason these miracles that break nature are not ideal is because it looks like they're two opposing forces. There's nature and there's Hashem. And Hashem, when nature doesn't do what Hashem wants, Hashem is just going to take over nature. But otherwise, nature has a mind of its own. And it's not connected to Hashem. It's its own koyach. Okay? And so those miracles they prove that Hashem is the strongest, that Hashem is the biggest, that Hashem is the strongest, He can do whatever He wants. But when Hashem's not doing those great miracles, then I don't have anybody to talk to. I got to talk to Teva. I got to talk to nature. Because since Hashem is not doing any miracles, who am I going to daven? What am I going to do? Hashem, if nature is just by itself, then I don't have who to ask. I have to appease nature. I have to get involved in nature. I can't talk to Hashem. If Hashem's going to help me, He's got to break nature to help me. And if Hashem's not around, if this nace is not happening, then I don't have anybody to talk to. I have to go to doctors. I have to take medicine, and I have to just trust the medicine. I have to trust the doctors. I have to trust, because if there's no revealed miracle that's going to break nature, then I'm going to have to just face up and submit to the laws of nature and be submitted to the laws of nature. Because Hashem doesn't have power unless he's going to actually break nature. That's really the treachery that could happen, and that's why it's not ideal that miracles should be without nature's clothing, because it's misleading. It's misleading. We're going to come to a conclusion that is false. You get which the conclusion is false? The false conclusion we could come to if we just we have his miraculous things in breaking nature. Is that clear?
Mm-hmm.
What is it?
No, I mean I hear what you're saying.
Yeah,
I'm not sure I agree, but I hear
yeah.
what
What are you not sure about?
Well, I definitely think that miracles should be clothed in nature, so we have that. So it's not quite so obvious. I mean, Meretz Yisrael, that was so obvious. It was like, the ice doesn't have fire inside of it. It can't happen. So we need to be able to strive and to question what is us and what is God. And if nature is its own koach, as you said, I don't know where I'm going with this.
Nature is not its own koach.
No, but you were saying if it was.
If we see only revealed miracles, then nature is left as its own koach. That's just weaker, but it's its own force to be reckoned with. That Hashem, just when he wants to be involved, he has to then break it in order to get involved. That nature has a mind of its own. If Hashem wants to get involved, he has to break nature in order to intervene. There's no way that Hashem can come and intervene in nature itself. Nature has its own mind, Hashem has his own mind, and if Hashem wants to intervene, he's got to break nature. So if we only had revealed miracles like that, that's the conclusion, that's the false conclusion that we could come to. And that's why bare miracles that break nature are not ideal. They're not ideal because but on this level of male and female, it's not ideal because it's almost like non-consensual relations, like rape. That there's no woman, there's no female receptor there. The teva, the shechina, which is us in nature. There's no participant. Hashem has to come and break nature and force nature to change its laws. Water, the law is that it just kind of floats, right? It doesn't stand up straight, right? We're going to change that law, forcing it to change its law. So the nature is not a willing receptacle for Hashem's intervention. So the ideal is that we create a willing receptacle for that intervention. And that is why Hishtadlus, that is why efforts are a necessary part of Bitachon. Right? We asked, doesn't Bitachon mean don't do anything? Shouldn't Bitachon mean that Hashem's taking care of everything, that there's no other power but Hashem, so what do I need to go to work for? What do I need to be involved in the levers of Teva? And why does I even look like I'm involved in nature? Why should I even go to work and get a job? Let just Hashem put money in the bank account. Because I'm that feminine vessel. I'm making that vessel for Hashem to be a part of. This is the ideal. The ideal is that there's that joining, that Hashem's shefa, that Hashem's bounty, that Hashem's beneficence finds landing place in nature. That nature is a vessel for Hashem's bounty, Hashem's will. And so we have to create that vessel so that Hashem's energy, Hashem's bounty, Hashem's beneficence has a vessel, has a kli, has a instrument to be expressed through. So that's why I need to go and have a job. I need to go have a job and make a vessel in order for Hashem to fill. That is the unification of Hashem's action, and triggered by our efforts. Our efforts create the landing place for Hashem's miracle to be landing.
So you're making an argument why Yosef should have asked for the wine guy to remember him.
Okay, so what was wrong? You're trying to jump the gun here. I appreciate that. You're a mavakesh. So let's go to, because I'm not going to be here for Channukah. So let's talk about Channukah. What did they do? They also did a lot of Hishtadlus, the Chashmonaim. They did a lot of Hishtadlus, right? They did a lot of Hishtadlus. What was the miracle of Channukah? Was the miracle of Channukah in nature or against nature? Was it within nature, or did it break nature?
Broke nature.
It broke nature?
With the wine, with the oil burning for 8 days?
Okay, let's talk before the oil. Let's just talk about the war.
They broke nature.
It broke nature?
Yes. A handful of Hasmoneans destroyed the Roman army.
What was miraculous?
That a handful of Hasmoneans destroyed the Roman
army.
But
what broke? What in nature was broken?
Half a dozen people can't kill 1,000 people.
What?
A half a dozen people can't kill 1,000 people.
Half a dozen people can kill 1,000. Well, they can. They can. Who else killed them? What killed them? Were they killed by supernatural means? There was nothing supernatural.
There was nothing supernatural.
There was nothing supernatural. I mean, you're right. It's a law of nature that the mighty should be victorious over the few, right? That's a law of nature, okay? So that seemingly law of nature was not followed. But nothing supernatural happened.
I don't know.
Every Greek soldier was killed in a natural way.
I was saying Romans, I should have said Greek, you're right.
Every Greek soldier was killed with a sword, with a rock. No plague came from Mitzrayim and came and wiped them out.
You don't know that.
What do you mean I don't know that?
Which word don't you understand?
I don't know that? How do I not know that?
Their swords might have elongated to
Who said such a thing?
People.
Who said such a thing? Such a thing? You heard such a thing?
I haven't heard such a thing.
So where do you get that from?
Well, it doesn't mean it didn't happen. You're saying it had to be within nature. I'm saying maybe it wasn't within nature.
But where do you see where do we learn? We have to learn. I mean, you making this up? You making this up that there were supernatural things?
I'm making it up.
No, you see why? You know what it says when Mashiach comes. The only holidays that are going to stay are Purim and Channukah.
Uh-huh.
Why? Why only Purim and Channukah are going to stay once Mashiach comes?
Because we like getting drunk and we like eating potato pancakes.
Okay, that's true, but we don't like sitting in sukkahs? Not as much as potato pancakes. Not as much as getting drunk. Getting drunk in the sukkah. Maybe we should do that.
With potato pancakes.
What about cheesecake? Hello? Cheesecake? No more cheesecake. We could have cheesecake on Hanukkah.
Kimchi, the traditional meal of...
Right, exactly. So the reason is because those holidays are very, very top down. Sukkot, Pesach, these are Hashem coming in and saving us. Hashem coming in and delivering us and giving us and protecting us. Chanukah and Purim are where Hashem didn't really take the first move. We did the first move. Bottom up. It's the female. It's the female reaching up and the male unifying. It's not just top down. Hashem wants us to want Him. Hashem wants us to want Him. He wants us to desire Him. He wants us to make a vessel for Him, to be a vessel for Him. So in the Chashmonaim, they looked and they saw, okay, what's going to be? What's going to be? Well, we're just going to have to, it doesn't matter what it looks like. It doesn't matter what it looks like. We are going to take the shot. We're going to take the shot. And the Rebbe, the Lubavitcher Rebbe, was always very, when it came to Entebbe, the operation of Entebbe, he uses this as an example of you just have to. Was Entebbe a miracle? Was Entebbe a miracle?
It didn't
was
break,
the six?
It didn't break nature.
It didn't break nature, right?
But
6 Day War didn't break nature. They don't study it in army school, but it didn't break nature. It didn't break any laws of nature. But it's when we take a shot, when we take that preemptive shot, even though the chances of success are nil or kimat zero, it doesn't matter. When we, as the female, as the receptor, when we come and say we're gonna be there, our vessel's gonna be there, and Hashem's gonna fill it. It looks like we have no chance. We have no chance, but we're gonna take the shot. Hashem can fill it, and Hashem does, and that's Purim, that's Channukah, that was Entebbe, that was the 6 Day War. We took a shot, we took a preemptive shot, and Hashem answered. That's the yichud. That's the unification of the male and the female. We need to take the shot. We have to do Hishtadlus. We don't want Bitachon that we just sit back and do nothing. We don't want that. That's not Hashem's plan. Hashem's vision is that we are active participants. We want. That's why we're not looking forward to revealed miracles by Mashiach. If you're looking for great revealed, another splitting of the sea where the water stands up like a mount, fireflies coming down from Shemayim and zapping the Hamas. It's not like that. Hashem did that already. He did that already. He came and he coerced us. We weren't a vessel. We were like we had nothing. And Hashem came and but that was okay. That was his opening bid. And now we have to reciprocate. We have to come, and we see Channukah and Purim. Those are our holidays. Those are where the woman is making the first move, and she's making the vessel, even though it looks very bleak. Our chances are nil. But I'm doing the Hishtadlus to take that move. That I'm relying on the Rabbanu Shalom. And this is the problem with Yosef. Yosef, he very much exemplified this element of just he would just whatever he would do. It was just he would do, and Hashem would just be there. He would do, Hashem was there. He was whatever he did, Hashem was matzliach. He was matzliach, whatever he did. Okay, he ended up in difficult situations, but wherever he found himself in, when he made the move, Hashem filled his cup with success and with bracha.
So his Hishtadlus actually worked.
His Hishtadlus did not work. It did not work initially. He was punished for 2 more years.
It didn't work by someone else's timeline, but it worked. Had he not mentioned it to the Tsar that he mentioned it to?
No, that's not even true. No. His mentioning to the Tsar, no.
But that's the way it happened.
No, what happened was that the guy totally forgot that he reminded him. He totally forgot.
Until it was time for him to remember.
Not that he remembered that Yosef had asked him, but that there was this guy who could interpret dreams.
Right.
That would have happened even without Yosef saying, put in a good word for me.
Okay, that's a good point.
Yeah, okay. So what was the problem with Yosef's Hishtadlus that didn't have like by Yaakov Avinu? Is that Yosef asked a person to help him. Bad form. You're asking a guy, you're asking a Basav Adam to help you? What Hashem is the man to help. You're asking a favor from a person. You're like making yourself receptive, but not to Hashem. You're making yourself receptive to another guy. You help me. That was anti Yosef's midah.
You're gonna have to work on that one. I don't buy that at all.
Why not?
I mean, I hear what you're saying is correct. I'm not saying that.
I mean, and also Yaakov-Avinu didn't have that problem, right? Yaakov-Avinu, he didn't ask anybody for help, right? He was going to do milchama. He was going to do a gift. He wasn't asking anybody for help. He wasn't relying on a favor from anybody.
He sent angels in front of him.
To what?
That's not asking for help? I guess that's asking for help from God because they were angels? God's lieutenants?
He wasn't asking them to. He was just. What did he send the angels for? Did he send the angels before he found out they were coming? He was just sending angels to kind of get a feel for where Esav was at.
Yeah.
And they came back and they said he's PO'd.
They say a good word for you.
What?
It's kind of the same thing.
I don't know if they were putting in a good word. They were just like, tell him that I'm on my way.
Okay. I don't know. I'm feeling argumentative today.
Yeah. I don't think it's working for you.
It never does.
Yeah, I'm surprised you haven't learned your lesson by now.
I'm only 73. I've got plenty of time to learn. God willing.
So that I think that's a great answer. It's a very simple answer, and I think it's very good. That it wasn't just that he did Hishtadlus. Yosef Hatzadik did Hishtadlus. He did plenty of Hishtadlus. But this Hishtadlus was a problem.
I think it says that he actually, because he asked twice. Once was good enough. He asked him, remember. He said 2 words: "Remember me, or something like this.
Well, that's interesting.
Well, even if he asked once, it would have been a problem, according to this, because he asked a guy to help him. He asked a guy to help him.
That's your natural Hishtadlus.
Why is that natural Hishtadlus?
Next one took away from it.
No. Natural Hishtadlus. So this is it. Natural Hishtadlus is I'm making efforts that Hashem can fill.
Yeah, by giving him the opportunity to help was to help.
What are you talking about? Listen, like we just established, the guy ended up knowing that he was. Well, first of all, this Hishtadlus, if you look at it, was totally ridiculous. I mean, Yosef, it's a little embarrassing, even if it wasn't just relying on a person, but you're asking a guy who's just getting off of death row, okay, to go and put in a good word for you, but from the king, like what are we gonna say exactly? What was he expecting the cupbearer to say? You know, you just had mercy on me, saved my life from death, and you know what? There's this like schlepper in the jail. Maybe you, Paro, want to also free him. Well, what was Yosef thinking this kid was going to do?
Exactly what he did.
No. What he did was Paro had a need.
Right.
That wasn't what was happening that day.
But the result was the same. That man.
No, the result was not the
Yosef
same. But that had nothing to do with Yosef's request.
Oh gosh.
Nothing to do with Yosef's request. And that was only at the time that Paro had a need. 2 years later, Paro had a dream nobody could solve, and now the cupbearer wakes up and says, no one can solve this dream. I remember there was that Yiddish guy in the prison, he could solve dreams. Maybe he can help. What was going to be, otherwise, what was going to be his in with Paro to advocate for Yosef, like, you know, thank you, Paro, King Paro, for saving me my life and reinstating me in my post. Do you think you could take this other kid this Jewish slave out of the prison? He's such a cutie pie. Could you take him out of prison, please? What did you? I mean, it's a weird Hishtadlus. You're asking somebody with basically no clout, who's negative clout, who's writing himself on Rachmanis of Paro, and now he's gonna go ask him. It's ridiculous. It's really weird. Why Yosef thought this was a good idea? But he's asking because that when we ask people to save our tuchases, that's what we're doing. When we think that this person is going to help us, he could be the president of the United States. It doesn't matter. We're thinking that we're putting our efforts in the wrong direction.
I'm good at that.
Yeah. That the Hishtadlus in a Bitachon way is making a vessel for Hashem to fill. Not doing things that we're asking for favors from other people. Okay, we have to be very careful when asking favors from other people, because that Hishtadlus is tricky when other people are involved. Okay, so that's the Hishtadlus that needs a lot more consideration, because what is the whole point of Hishtadlus? The whole point of Hishtadlus is to position ourselves properly to receive Hashem's blessing through nature. We're positioning nature effectively to receive the bracha from Hashem.
I asked David to make soup for us.
What?
I'm asking David to make soup so we have lunch today.
Okay.
What is it? That's not normal Hishtadlus.
I mean, is that David's job is to make soup?
He doesn't have a joke. He just does it with his kindness. Remind him.
It's Hishtadlus if you want soup in the afternoon. I don't think it's Hishtadlus that we should be freed from slavery.
I mean, I guess it's just, you also have to go, I mean, what is, you can't ask anybody for any help. Can't ask anybody. I mean, people that we need help. We need help with things, and we ask people for help sometimes that we need. We ask.
He's not going to make that soup.
What?
Good. Under normal circumstances, he's not going to make that soup. I have to depend on David to do his stuff. This is Hishtadlus for me to get my butter soup.
Well, I mean, if he doesn't know, if he doesn't know you need soup, and you're just telling him that today's the day for soup, then I think that But if you're constantly reminding him, did you forget? Do you remember there's soup today? Remember soup? Soup. So I mean, in a certain sense, you're taking a little bit. You're not. But.
Robert, would you pass me the salt, please? Am I allowed to ask for help to get the salt? Is that
Can you do him a favor?
Mike? 2 years from now, will you give me the salt?
It's a recurring theme over and over again.
Which?
Oh, that was
Why was Moshe not allowed to go into Eretz Israel? Because with the staff, instead of asking Hashem, he thought that the staff itself would be enough to bring the water from the rock. You have to play Emunah in Hashem instead of others or a staff.
I mean, he was supposed to speak to the rock. He
was supposed to speak to Hashem.
Well, he was supposed to speak to the rock. He was supposed to speak to the rock.
Yeah.
And I think there more it was because Hashem was trying to. I mean, first of all, he disobeyed Hashem. Hashem said, "Speak to the rock," and he hit the rock.
Okay.
But I think what he was trying to. I mean, the reason it was part of the reason it was so difficult there was because that Hashem was trying to use this example of Moshe as how tefillah needs to work. Use your words. Don't we tell kids like use your words. Don't hit.
Mm-hmm.
You use your words. When he was hitting, it was looking like some kind of revealed miracle. If you don't have this stick, then you're not going to be able to get anything. But if you could just use your words and you can daven, then you can affect things. And that message was not given over because he hit the rock.
Okay.
So, but this is just another place where we need to be receptive. We need to be receptive to Hashem. And because it's difficult for us to be receptive. We're not typically in this receptive mode. We're in more the masculine, let's do. When it comes to avodas Hashem, I feel, let me just speak for myself. So my default is that I've got to take care of everything. I've got to make money. I've got to support the family. I've got to put food on the table. I've got to make sure this, that, and the other thing. I've got to do these things. And so in order for me to do all these things, I need to eat, I need to this, I need to that, I need to daven, I need to... And so everything I'm doing, it's because I'm taking care of things. So I'm not receiving from the Rebbeinu Shalom. I'm not making a vessel for the Rebbeinu Shalom to fill. I'm conquering. I'm achieving. So my Hishtadlus is not, a way that I'm making a vessel for Hashem to fill. My Hishtadlus is I feel like I'm putting the money in the vessel. I got to put the money in there. And so this is another element where it's not about us that we're passive. It's not about this feminine energy is about being passive. The feminine energy is about being active, but it's active in an expectation of receiving Hashem's bracha. That I'm positioning myself in nature to receive Hashem's bracha. I don't feel like Hashem has left me on my own to take care of all of my needs. Hashem is, just like a wife relies on her husband to fill her needs, her physical needs, her emotional needs. She looks to her husband for the fulfillment of her needs. She needs money. She needs whatever she... So we look to Hashem to fill our needs. We're not the ones responsible for filling our needs, but we see that we are. When it comes to when it comes to mitzvahs and everything I'm doing. And so also when it comes to, Hashem, I got to take care of my life. And so there's the way that Hashem sets it up is that He wants us to create the situation on the ground that He can bring His miracle. He can bring His miracle embedded in nature. And the thing about Channukah and the thing about the oil, even the oil, while the oil was breaking nature, but not when you looked at it. When you looked at the candle, nothing was breaking nature because you just see a candle lit. Only if you looked at it for 8 days straight did you see that there was a miracle. Only when you looked at it and kept looking at it. So there was a certain reflection that needed to be had to see that there was something going on. There was a miracle there. Otherwise, it looked just like nature. And this is really what it is. For Purim, go tell me what the miracle of Purim was. Good luck. Go tell me what the miracle of Purim was. Anybody? What the Nes Purim was? There was no miracle. Hashem's name is nowhere to be found. This is how Hashem wants it. Hashem wants it that we prime the nature, we prime the field, so that Hashem's miracle is totally embedded in us, is embedded in our actions. The Chashmonayim, it's embedded there. And that it's only when we reflect, it's only when we take a look and we see and we're conscious. We're not just looking, we're conscious. We see that it's all Hashem's miracle.
So that what you're touching on is, according to Moshe Feinstein says, was Yosef's problem.
That what?
It says, it is normal and proper for people to seek out avenues for rescue, as Yosef had done. His mistake was not recognizing that the entire episode of the Chamberlain's imprisonment in dreams had been brought about by God and means of helping Yosef. He should have seen that God was in the process of saving him, and so there was no need to ask. So the distinction is that he was already in the picture. God was already seen by Yosef in the picture.
And he looked to person to help him.
And that was his mistake.
Right.
It's not a normal, that's Yosef. But a normal person in the situation could ask. Because Yosef should have seen.
A normal person doesn't have bitachon.
A normal person does not have bitachon.
A normal person doesn't have enough bitachon to not ask people for help.
I would agree with that.
So, Yosef HaTzadik had so much bitachon, he should have seen that this was all Hashem, and then he asked a guy, do you mind putting in a good word for me? Like, completely, almost in denial of Hashem. Hashem is helping you. He's the address. You're asking a basar v'dam for aid and assistance. The whole point is that we are laying the groundwork. We're seeing that Hashem is asking of us to do our efforts for Him to fill. So if we're scared and we're nervous, if Hashem is going to fill it, and so we go to somebody to ask, because we're not sure Hashem's going to fill it, is that maybe Hashem forgot about me here, so I need to go ask somebody. But if I'm asking somebody because that's the proper Hishtadlus to do, like let's say you're I'm just trying to you forgot your passport and you need to make a plane. You lost the passport. You don't have your passport. You need to make a plane. So you have to talk to the person at the counter. Explain to the situation. What can we do? Am I putting my faith in this person? I have to talk to that person. It's not like we can't talk to people. But where is my reliance? Where am I looking for the rescue to come? Am I looking? Yosef was looking for that minute. He looked. He saw this opportunity. Oh, I don't see Hashem. You can help me. You're gonna help me, not Hashem. You. That's a big problem. Whether you're Bitachon or not, that's a big problem. Because if I think you have the power to help me, then I'm sunk. I got a problem. So that's Yosef. Yosef was on the level that he was punished for 2 years. We're not punished for taking such actions. That's some would say, well, that's just normal behavior. Ask people for favors. Ask people for. It's normal behavior to think. It's not Hashem that gave me my salary. It was my boss that gave me my salary. People would say that's normal thinking. That's normal thinking. When was the last time we see our paycheck deposited in the account and we said, thank you, Hashem? So it's normal for us to think that people are doing everything for us. It's normal for us to think I'm doing it for me. That is we've taken Hashem's role. And this is the point I'm trying to make. That when we take Hashem's role, we're not in this receptive place to create a situation for Hashem to fill. We're so nervous. We think it's up to us. Okay, I can't do this, so let me ask my friend to help me and let him do it. Hashem, what are you talking about? Hashem's not doing anything for me. I've got to do it for me. My Hishtadlus becomes too much.
Before I made Aliyah, I was asking everybody that I could see of how I can make Parnassa in Israel. Should I just relate on God that I'm going to get a phone call one day and offer me a job in Israel?
No, I don't. Is that what I'm saying? Is that what it sounds like?
Yeah.
You shouldn't get advice?
I'm saying maybe the way to understand that midrash isn't like, it's not like in that way. When we say Yosef got punished the extra 2 years, maybe it's not like such a punishment if Pharaoh had a dream at that specific time. It was kind of like the structure. Now, how do we understand?
So it was a punishment or wasn't a punishment?
I don't know.
Chazal looked down on that, what he did. They looked down. They didn't have to. They didn't have to say anything. It had just been an unfortunate thing, and then 2 years later, Paro has his dream. But Chazal say no, he was wrong for what he did. And what was the error that he did? Is that he was on a level that he should have seen that Hashem is orchestrating this entire thing, and to go to some guy and say, "Could you help me? Could you do me a favor? I need to get out of here. Could you do me a favor?" That was improper. That was improper. Now, why was that improper? But that was, it's another way to understand the Medrash. Either it was improper or it was proper. The Medrash said it's improper.
So how does that differ from me asking people if they could help me find a job in Israel? I needed to get out of America. I need to get out of here. Is there anything that, can you do me a favor and talk to anybody you might know in Israel to help me find a job?
As long as you don't think that that person has the power to give you a job. That's all. as long as you don't forget that Hashem is the one who's giving you the job.
And you think
if
for
you're
a
looking
moment
for
that Yosef
favors,
didn't know that Hashem was going to...
that moment, if he would have known, he would never have asked.
I don't know if you go wow.
I really have a hard time with that.
Because the Midrash is very clear that when Yosef was in jail, everyone in the jail understood who Hashem was because of his behavior.
So he was put to a certain level of there was something more expected of him. We're not getting punished for asking people for help when we rely on people all the time. We rely on everything but Hashem all the time. We're not holding by Yosef, not in jail, not in free, not in this, not in that. I'm saying most of us are relying on nature and ourselves and on electricity and the healthcare system and all kinds of things. We're not relying on Hashem. So we're not in the same place that Yosef Atzadik is anyway. But we can still learn an ideal, to strive for, to see that where is the relationship between Hishtadlus and Bitachon. That it doesn't mean that Bitachon doesn't mean we don't do any Hishtadlus, which is what some people think. Some people think, oh, if you have Bitachon, you can't do Hishtadlus. Since I'm anyway doing Hishtadlus, I'll just rely on my boss. I'll rely on the banks. I'll rely on the internet. I'll rely on my feet. I'll rely on the shoes. I'll rely on the trains. I'll rely on all these things because anyway I'm doing Hishtadlus. No, Hishtadlus is a necessary factor of Bitachon because Hashem wants our efforts in order for His blessing to be received. And so we just have to understand that our efforts are for that end. That our efforts are doing it for Hashem's bracha to be received in the world. And so if it's the normal thing to call up people in the industry and say, I'm looking for a job, please let me know if you hear anything, if you have any contacts, that's a normal thing to do. That's a normal thing to do. And it's like, Hashem, you know what's right. I'm going to pick up the phone and I'm going to say, I'm just going to let somebody know that I'm coming. And he doesn't have the power, and when he forgets about me, I don't care. Because it doesn't matter. Or when he says, oh, I don't know anybody. No big deal. I did the Hishtadlus, and I don't care because it doesn't matter. It's not coming from him. Yosef Atzadik got confused for a second. He got confused for a second. Where is his rescue coming from?
But his Hishtadlus worked.
No, why do you keep coming back to it, David?
Because I don't agree with your statement that it didn't. He said, remember me, and the guy remembered him.
But not because he said, remember me.
That's
The Torah testifies that he not just did not remember him, but he forgot about him. And then when Paro has a dream, oh yeah, there's some guy who knows dreams.
Oh yeah, he remembered him.
Not because he asked him to remember him, David.
Yeah, how could you prove that?
What do you mean?
You're saying he made a statement. He's saying like,
how can he prove the otherwise?
Because the guy actually remembered.
Because the guy returned a guy translated his dream. Paro had a dream. He didn't have an answer. And he remembers, oh, I remember I had a dream. And some guy also answered my dream.
Yeah, he remembered.
That's it.
Yeah, but he remembered him.
Because he translated his dream. Not because he asked for a favor.
How do you know?
Well, it's definitely because he translated his dream, right?
I'm saying you're taking the midrash out.
No, it's because he translated his dream, right? Is there another reason why he remembered him?
No, it's not that.
That's on you to prove. I don't have to prove that. My part is already proved. He translated his dream, and that's what he remembered. If you want to say, oh, but he wouldn't have remembered unless Yosef had specifically asked him to remember him, that's not clear. Where's that proof?
Because they had the conversation and he related.
He didn't relate that conversation.
Of course he did.
What he related was that he translated his dream.
Yeah.
But he didn't remind him about that.
Was he supposed to go to Pharaoh and say, hey, Yosef reminded me to tell you? Is that what made it more clear? Or?
No, but he didn't remind him to tell him that there's a dream translator in the jail. He said, just tell Paro to let me out of jail. Nothing to do with dreams. Nothing to do with dreams. Ask Paro to put in a good. You're going to be next to Paro serving him drinks. Could you put in a good word for me?
And then Pharaoh's going to let him out because they're just buddies. The guy he just
right. It's so silly. It's ridiculous.
So maybe it's not that shot. That's what he's saying.
No, he's not saying that. He's just saying that 2 years later, the only reason he remembered Yosef was because Yosef asked him, which is not true.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I think the only reason he remembered it was because Yosef remembered his dream.
That's right.
Right.
Yosef translated his dream.
Exactly.
That's it.
But Yosef did ask him to remember.
But he forgot.
How do you
He didn't forget.
The Torah says he forgot.
He didn't forget the
Hu
translation.
lo zacharoto v'shachachoto. He didn't remember and he forgot him. And then now when dreams come up, oh, there's a dream guy. Nothing to do with his request. Fine. It was great that Yosef asked him. It was great. It was great that Yosef relied on another person and didn't rely on Hashem in that moment. Good. It's great.
Well, why do you say because he asked him to remember him, that means he doesn't rely on Hashem?
I didn't say that. I didn't make that up.
One midrash.
I didn't make that up.
I'm saying it's one
Why
midrash.
was he punished?
Who says he's punished? There's one midrash that says he was. There's
So
other
according to that medrash, why was he punished?
because he asked.
I mean, if you look in the pshat, it's not like the medrash is coming from a far out place. I mean, the pshat is that the guy forgot him and he stayed another 2 years in prison. I mean, it's not like the medrash is coming from like way left field. I mean, one medrash. How many more medrashim do you need?
It's a lot. It's a whole lot of midrash.
That's right. So one medrash is a lot. What do you need? Another medrash that says it? It's not good enough that one
I'm
medrash
saying
says it?
The way that I learn midrashim is that we're not necessarily reading the midrashim like it's a Rashi. We're reading the midrashim to understand. They're trying to give us a critical analysis of the pasuk. So I'm not drawing the medrash to say, hey, this is what happened. I'm asking the question, why is Chazal making this point? That's how I learn how to learn medrash. Why are they making this point? Why are they making this point? Out of all the things.
So why are they making that point?
We didn't start that discussion. We're using it as a Rashi right now.
I'm not sure I understand. But okay. So that's so Channukah and Purim and our job is that with Bitachon we understand that Hashem wants our efforts as a base for His bracha to land, and that's us. That's the Chashmonayim. That was Purim. That when things look dark, when things look scary, we know that Hashem is the only one who has the power, and we act because Hashem doesn't want to act without our initiative. He wants our initiative. He wants us to make the first move, and so we should be blessed to have the courage to make the first move, and that reliance itself. We don't have to be a tzaddik. We don't have to anything like that. Just the bitachon itself is enough that Hashem will answer all our tefillas.
Amen.